Hello, everyone. How are you? Guess what time it is? Guess what day it is? It is Wednesday. It is January the 31st, 2004. I'm not even going to tell you how fast this month has pushed by, but it's okay. We're here and we're live, and you have tuned into the Power of Transformation broadcast. And we're excited because this is the last day of January, and God has blessed us to see it. And we have a phenomenal show ready for you tonight. Did I say phenomenal? Oh, yes, I did. We have some great people every week, but honey, tonight's going to be phenomenal. So you know what you have to do. You have to pick up your phone, just like this. And you have to tag your friends. And you have to call them. If you have time, of course, call them. And you have to text them. And you have to tell them that the power of transformation broadcast is on. And they do not want to miss the opportunity to be transformed by the renewing of their mind. They don't want to miss it. So again, I never ask you to do anything that I don't do. So I, myself, I'm going to do a little tagging. I'm going to do a little texting. And I know we're going to be right back. You need to join us. See you soon. Did you get all of your tagging and your texting and your communication in? Well, I'm still doing a little texting, but I'm going to stop now because we have a wonderful show. And I want to go ahead on and let you know that God is doing great things in 2024. He's even going to do greater things after tonight. I want you to believe. I'm not going to start preaching, but I want you to just believe. So tonight, we have a young lady who I've known for just a short period of time, but she's made an incredible impact on me every time I'm in her presence. Each time I'm in her presence, I learn something about life and transformations and really enjoying the journey. And I love her flyer. I love the flyer, and I love what she says. Her name is Lynn Hines, and this is what she says. She says, I walk in prosperity. I live in peace, and I move in power. I'm going to let her tell you what all of that means, but if you just look at that line, it says a whole lot about what she's learned to do in her transformations. So please put your hand together and welcome Lynn Hines. I call her Lynn and Boss Lady.
Yes!
How's that? How's that for an introduction?
I love the sound bite. I love it. I love it. Man, that was an intro.
Yes.
That was an intro.
I
love it.
Did you like that?
I love that. Yes.
So
First of all, I love the phone. I love the whole concept of the phone. That starting intro, that's so you.
It is.
That's so you. If it's going to be done and be done differently, let it be done by Dr. Paula Obie.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly right. Let me tell you something. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you took a moment out of your time. I don't know how you do everything, but I'm so glad you decided to join us.
You.
What a privilege it is.
Thank you.
To have you here. And you know, I'm just going to say, I'm going to let you talk about that line I just read.
Yes. Walk in prosperity, live in peace, and move in the power. When you sent that to me that you wanted to talk about it, I said, this is funny because I bet you she doesn't think that this is really what it is. I wrote that as a close to an email to a young man that I was leaving. We had been dating and it was over. I said everything that I wanted to say and I ended it. Walk in prosperity, live in peace, and move in power. I just believed that and I felt that was the sharpest line ever. I felt like I was telling you off telling you bye-bye, kick the bricks, do whatever you needed to do, but I was moving. I was done. I had checked out. I had literally checked out, and I thought, wow, that was good.
That was good.
That was good. That was a good way to tell somebody, you know what? Go on. You walk in prosperity. But I forget sometimes that we forget that when we're nice to people and when someone does us wrong and you turn around and you turn good on them, we forget the scripture that tells us that it's like putting heaps of coal on their head. That's how I meant it for them.
Yes.
I did not realize until years later how much that line for them was really for me.
Wow.
And so I began to use it as my closing signature on my email. I didn't, I would say thank you, had my name, and that was my tag. Walk in prosperity, live in peace, and move in power.
It sounded like it was a blessing that you gave.
Wasn't meant to be.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
It really wasn't meant to be. But that's the way it was.
That's where it came out.
That's the way it came out. But it really, and that's interesting because as much as I wanted it to be such a cut for that person, it really wasn't. And it literally wasn't until years later when it resurfaced again that I realized, wow, girl, that's how I want to live my life.
Yes.
I want to walk in prosperity. I want to live in peace. And I definitely want to move in power. I want to be able that when I walk into the room, I'm a money magnet. I don't want my money to fall out like holes in a bag. I want to be able to hold it and build wealth off of it. I want to be able to live in peace. And I think we are at that point in time in life and things that are going on in society where we say, no, we've gotten to that point that's good vibes only. We don't want anybody to mess up our peace. But I didn't understand that years ago, like I do now. I understand now how my peace is so important to me. Peace is like a commodity. It's like gold. We've got it.
Yes, it's priceless.
We've got to have it. If we don't set our boundaries, people can come in our lives, disrupt. I love it when people say they disrupted my chi. I don't even think people know what chi is. They've had that word and they say it like it's some sort of tea. But I don't think people really understand how valuable your peace is. Because without having the peace, Paula, we can make some mistakes based on the turmoil going on around us. But until we get to that place that if we can look at that turmoil and just go, ooh, this is peace. We're not doing it, then you can't move in power.
So the formula that you were developing, not knowing that you were developing it, you thought it was for something else. It turned around for your good.
Turned around for my good, because that is what I want to do. I want to be able to move in power and not in fear. And I tell people sometimes you do have to do it afraid.
Yes.
You do have to do it afraid. And I am one of those people that if I was telling somebody, if I'm in a room and they need somebody to start it off, like, let's give your name, where you're from, tell us one thing about yourself. I got my hand, because we're going to get it over with. I'm going to give you what you need. We're going to get it over with so we can keep it moving. But am I that confident all the time? No. I sell paparazzi accessories, so I go live. There are days that I go live. Am I scared? And I watch the numbers, and the numbers are climbing, and I don't know the people who are coming on, and I'm trying to figure out, did I say that right? What are we talking about? What's going on? But yeah, I got to do it afraid.
Yes.
I have to do it afraid. But as I tell my teammates sometimes, and they're like, I don't know if I want to go live. Why? You can't see them. And when I said that one day, somebody was like, you know what? You can't. You can't see them. You don't have a clue what they're doing and what they're looking like on the other side of the screen. So for me, if I can't talk in this square like I'm talking to you right now and sell you a pair of earrings, the only person I see is me. I'm describing everything I see to you whom I cannot see.
That's good.
I can't see. We got to move in power. We can't back up. Not in 2024. We can't do that in 2024. There's some things that we're not going to be able to receive or to obtain or to get unless we move with the confidence and the power in knowing. We say it all the time. We can speak to the mountain and the mountain will be removed. But you can't go up to the mountain and go, move, mountain. Move.
Whisper. You can't whisper to the mountain. Please, would you?
You got to say it with authority. Say it like you mean it. You know how we talk to our children? Like what you say?
Right.
You know, that's the same way we got to talk to that mountain. If that mountain is in front of you and it's giving you trouble, why am I looking at the mountain going, excuse me, would you please step to the side just 2 inches to the left? That's not what we're doing. Now, you know, I don't know. I wasn't a fighter in school, but I was born and raised in DC. So, you know, the thing was, if you was getting ready to fight, you knew the fight was getting ready to pop off when you took your earpiece off.
And put your Vaseline on.
That's how we have to be with the mountain.
I want to stay right there with that mountain. If you don't mind, I want you to give me that power voice. Because I know that there is someone who's been speaking very gingerly to the mountain, and they haven't a clue as to why the mountain has not been, moved in place into the sea. They need a power voice. How do you get that power voice, Lynn?
You know, when you get to that point, when we say it, when you get tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, there is something that rises up in you. That gives you the confidence to square up and just be like, let me tell you something. We're not doing this. We're not going through this anymore. And that's the thing. We don't have to curse. I know sometimes you might want to look at that mountain and give it all of the letters and all of the alphabets and make a complete sentence that doesn't have a noun or pronoun. That's not power. Power is standing in authority and believing what you're saying. That's power. Power is saying, you know what? You can come this far and no further. I let you get away with it this time, but on today, this is your last time, and we're not doing this no more. And standing behind what you say.
Stand and don't waver.
Don't waver.
Don't waver.
Don't waver.
Yeah.
Don't waver.
There are a lot of things that we have that resemble God, right? Created us in his image and in his likeness. But who did he give the voice to?
Who do you give the voice
to? Who
did
he give the voice to? He gave the
voice to me.
Yes,
he gave me the power.
He gave you
the power comes from him through me.
Through you.
Through me to be able to say that, because the Bible tells us that he gives us power to walk over scorpions, to walk over serpents. So why can't I? The God that I serve spoke to the winds and told the winds to be still.
Yes.
And they were still. So if I'm created in his image, the same power he has is the same power he has given me. So if I'm going to speak to that mountain, I'm expecting it to move. I'm not doubting. I'm not asking. I'm not waiting. I know it's going to move. And that's the other part of the power. You can say it, but if it don't move tomorrow, doesn't mean it's not going to move. Doesn't mean it's not going to move. You still have to stand firm and believe it's moving and keep moving like it's already moved. As opposed to being stuck looking out the window. I like snow. Anybody on here who knows me, I love snow. If you love saying North Carolina, it's going to snow and it's going to start snowing after midnight, I'm that one that's at the blind at 12:01 looking for it to snow. But I'm not, weather's funny.
Yes.
Am I sitting there waiting? Not necessarily for the snow, because we can't really count on that. but I can count on God.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can count on God. And anything I do in his name, oh, he gonna show up. Because we serve a God that don't lie, don't fail.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say, and I love it when we can go to the word and say, God declared and decreed. That in itself is a complete sentence.
It
I don't
is.
have nothing. God declared and decreed.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. And I think sometimes we forget to walk in that authority.
But why? Why would you forget that? That's your power. Why? And I'm speaking to myself. Why would I forget that I only need to square my shoulders, understand the voice that God has given? Because He didn't give the same voice to the pig and to the donkey.
Right.
I mean, He can make them talk. When I mean, in His likeness, I can speak words like God can speak words, and He gives us the power. How? Why are we forgetting that?
I think it's because, first of all, when you back up and your back is up against the wall, a lot of times we don't take the counsel from God first. We take the counsel from our friends.
That's true.
We get advice from them, their suggestions, their mottos, but it don't work. It doesn't work because that's not what God told you to do. And oftentimes we won't stand on that power because we don't necessarily always believe He's going to come through, because it's not in our time frame. And when it doesn't fit into our time frame, and it doesn't fit into what we've shared with people that the time frame is going to be, then you feel foolish. Then you're skeptical. Then you wonder if He's really going to do it. And you wonder when He's going to do it and how He's going to do it. But our God, the God that I serve, He's going to move at the right time. And sometimes the time is not your time. It's His time.
That's true.
He's not going to give you. It would be foolish of God, and I don't serve a foolish God, to bless me with millions and millions of dollars if I don't know how to hold it.
So if you can't manage the 500, are you telling me
how you gonna manage the 5,000? If I blew 500 today, He gonna give me 5,000? Okay. If He gives it to you, what was the purpose? What did you do? What do you have? What are you gonna show for it? You gotta. Everything is about I don't want to say principle. That's not the actual word I'm looking for. But I know, let's put it this way. If I want to buy a house and I believe God's going to bless me with a house, and I believe the house is going to look like this, that, and the other. But if my credit score ain't good, that's not the house I'm going to get. So I'm going to have to work on the credit score in order for God to give me what I'm asking Him for. It's not that He can't give it. But if He gave it to me tomorrow, I don't want my treasure to just go
right
like that. I don't want that. I want my treasure to last me.
Yes.
But if I can't manage it, He just gave you something and you still don't have anything.
And then you have, and then you have a temporary walk in prosperity. And who wants that?
I don't want that.
You know, we do not want our prosperity to only last for a couple of minutes, because that's not His plan.
That's not His plan. It's not His plan. I want my prosperity to be an eternal wealth so that my children, my children's children, their children. I would love to have the house like they have at the White House with the picture of the. That's your ancestor. That's why we're here. I want the picture to move from house to house. That's your great. That's the kind of prosperity I'm looking for.
Yes. I
want the kind of prosperity that my name, when I die, still has volume to it.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I want. I want my children to be able to walk in the room and be able to obtain the things that they want, as opposed to trying to figure out, what day do I get paid? Okay, and this check is going to be how much? I think I got a little bit of overtime coming in, and then, okay, but once I pay this and this, that's not prosperity.
It's not.
That's not prosperity.
It's not what God intended for us. I mean, if you read His word, my church is reading the Bible in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Old Testament, New Testament. And, I'm looking at all the things that God promised, and he kept his promises,
Mm-hmm.
and interwoven in all of it was always a line of, and I'm going to prosper you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, do we just not believe that God really wants us to be okay in our lives and do we not believe that? If it's in his word in the Old and the New Testament, then because Jesus said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly, abundantly is abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
What causes us not to believe that it's for me?
I think there's several factors. I think sometimes we lean on the fact that we know ourselves, we know our mistakes, we know what we've done, and sometimes we don't ever feel like we are worthy to receive what he's trying to give us.
There's that word, worthy.
Worthy. We don't feel that we're worthy sometimes. And oftentimes we won't move forward, either one, because we don't think that we can obtain it, but we have to really understand that all God really is looking for is the yes. He's in the details. So if he gets the willing vessel, it's going to be performed in the earth. He doesn't lie. And if he said it, he's going to do it. He's the same God that told Noah to build an ark because it's going to rain for people who ain't never seen rain before.
Didn't even know what it looked like.
Didn't even know what it looked like. Do you know how foolish he looked? His family must have thought, man, this man is really off his rocker.
Mm-hmm.
We out here getting wood to make a boat. First of all, what's an ark? They ain't never heard of the ark. They ain't seen an ark. And you telling him to build it because it's going to rain. And then I'm going to tell you how to gather the people in. Ask them to come. And they didn't come. Who was foolish?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may have looked crazy for the length of time that it took him to build the boat. But in the end, he was the one that prospered.
He was because of
his family, because of his obedience. And that's the thing. Sometimes, and I tell people, for me, this is just me personally, how I look at it. If it all lines up, then I'm doing it in my own power. If I look at it and I'm thinking, nah, I don't see that. But there are times that God has told me, I need you to do this or do this. And I'm, okay, this is great. Because I also, I plan events. And there was one event that I planned. And I worked on this. It was called Me, Myself, and I. It was a symposium. Wow. And I had speakers. And I had put it out in not even close, maybe 48 hours before the event. Do you know how many people I had coming? The 3 speakers, my daughter, my son, and my mother. And I remember Paula, I can't tell, tears is not really what this was just like. You know that emoji on Facebook with the water? It's just,
yes, with floods.
That's how I felt. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I did this. I did what you told me to do, and it's not coming together. In my mind, it wasn't coming together. I'm canceling it. My mother was like, no, do not cancel. You call your people and I'm going to call my people. So I'm on the phone literally calling people. I don't care if you can't pay. How much is it? I didn't ask you. No, I still want to pay you what you can pay at the door. I just need bodies. Please just come. And people came. They did come. But I say all that to say is because it didn't look like what I wanted it to look like. One of my speakers was a young lady who she had done something she shouldn't have done and should have been doing time for it. Mm-hmm. Basically it. Mm-hmm. Felt like she wanted to be a nurse, and at that time, it wasn't looking like she was going to be able to do it. I can now honestly say that this young lady is now going for her RN. So you can't tell me God don't have a purpose in your mess up.
That is so true.
My other speaker had just lost her husband, maybe 2 years, 2 years, and they had been married well over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So she was part of my me, myself, and I, because now you have to redefine yourself.
Right.
You've been married for so long. Who are you now?
Mm-hmm.
So she was speaking and she was talking, and it got quiet in the room. And one of my guests yelled out, "You're talking to me!" Out of nowhere. Wow. Out of nowhere. And we all just kind of stopped. She said, I don't know, but you are talking to me, and I am so glad I came. That event was for her.
It was for her.
I'm looking at a crowd, but God needed me to get to one person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're still in his will on the outside, it may not look like you want it to look like, because God doesn't always divulge everything. All he needs is your yes.
Yes, say that. Say
All
it.
he needs is your yes. But his will is going to be performed. And what we needed was to talk to her, because she had just lost her husband not 6 months prior.
Yes, God is real.
Died suddenly, unexpected. And yes, when you're married and your life has been your husband, who are you now?
Correct.
Because you did the part you were supposed to be. You were submissive. You did what you needed to do. Some of your dreams and ideas may have gone on the back burner. But now you get to blow the dust off of things you didn't think you could do. And now you realize that there are things in you that you can do that you didn't know you could do. Takes on a whole different ball game. And
Absolutely.
that's when a different power comes. That power of self-confidence in a woman, don't mess with that. Don't mess with that.
And I'm not even going to ask you which number she was that you called or your mom called. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She just decided to say yes.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
She could have been the first number you called.
Right.
She could have been the last number that you called. She could have been hesitant about coming, but she would have missed her
opportunity. And that's it. And listen to what you said. My mother called. So she didn't know me. She knew me through my mom, but she didn't know me.
Mm-hmm.
But you trusted, okay, this is Andrea's daughter. Okay, all right, I'll support. Not realizing that the support that you were giving me was what you needed in the end. So sometimes, yeah, we got to walk in prosperity, live in peace, and move in power. And sometimes we have to also understand that the fear sometimes is like, I want things to be a certain way. And even when I host events, I still want it to be a certain way. And it's not always that way, but it's still a good day.
It's still a good day.
Still a good day. There was an event that I did in September. I did it September 9th at 9 a.m. So it was 3 nines. We did it on the 9th month, on the 9th day at 9 a.m. And I did it at the prayer breakfast. We had 9 women. Wasn't the count I was looking for, but it ended up being only 9 women there. Let me tell you, we still keep in touch through the chat from that. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't what it needed it to be. But there was a young lady there, and I kept trying to figure out, God, I woke up that morning of the event at some ungodly hour, and this young lady's face kept appearing to me. And God kept telling me, He kept telling me what I was going to say to her, but I couldn't figure out why I was saying it. Right. Didn't make sense to me. I didn't know. I didn't know. We're talking, we're doing the icebreakers and everything. And I called her name out. And I asked her a question. And I can't even remember what the question is. And she said, the icebreaker question was, what is that one thing that you are still praying for? And she said, my marriage. And Paula, I sat back and I was like, oh my God, okay. I said, did you write that down on your paper? She said, mm-mm. I said, you tired? And she put her head down. And I said, I have to be obedient and tell you what God told me. I said, and I couldn't understand it. Why? Because I don't know you.
Right.
I don't know you like that. I know your name. I said, I kept seeing, God kept telling me that he was repairing your marriage. And I couldn't understand why. And all he kept showing me was that her marriage was like frayed, like on a thin fabric, and it was just threads. I said, but I could see God taking a golden thread and weaving your marriage back together. I said, you didn't put it on the paper because you want to let it go. And God is telling you, go back one more time. I said, because he is weaving you back together. If you want it, but if you don't want it, it's going to take some work, but you won't have to want it. She's sitting between my mother and another girl that I know is an intercessor. I specifically paired the people at the table with folk they didn't know. And when I began to tell her that, I forgot that I was pairing her with one of my friends who had at one point was getting ready to give up on her marriage, who then turned around and told her, listen to what she's telling you, because I've been there. Was getting ready to walk away from, I don't even remember how long they've been married. She said, but yeah, it's going to take some prayer and it's going to take some work. She said, but honey, right now, she was like, right now, I don't have those issues in my marriage. She said, but it's going to take some work. The tears, because we want things to look a certain way.
Yes, we do.
The Bible tells us, your ways are not my ways.
And
thoughts are not my thoughts. So he's going to move and get the glory. But you just got to say yes. Let him handle the details. And I've learned that sometimes the hard way because I don't get it. I stopped asking. Because if I ask, sometimes he's not going to answer. And it's just like, okay, I'm going to go on out here. All right. You tell me when you're ready.
And what he wants from you is what? The same thing that he's always wanted. I just want you to trust me.
Trust me. It's a free fall.
I just want you to trust me. I know it doesn't look like what you envision. I know it's crazy. I know it's wild. I know it doesn't make sense. I know people are doing this and they're looking at you funny. But you have to trust me.
Just trust me.
Just trust me.
And I love it, honestly, when you get to the point that you forgot about the prayer.
Totally.
When I moved to where I'm living now, to get to where I am now, what I went through before, because I lived with my mom for a year, me, my daughter, and the pit bull. Can't forget the dog. I lived with my mother. I lost my house. When I tell you there wasn't no money, there just wasn't any. There wasn't any. I lived with my mom, but I had to get myself together. And I knew I had to get myself together. I asked my mom. We made it work. 3 grown women in a house. It's not always easy.
You need a lot of Jesus.
You do. But it's like I told my daughter, how you go in this is how you come out. Right. If you go in this with a bad attitude, your process may take you longer.
True.
Because he's going to get out the lesson that you need to learn. I moved in Labor Day weekend. The goal was to be there for a year. I moved out Labor Day weekend. It was 1 year to the day. When I moved, first of all, I was just like, how are we going to pay for this? First, let's do that. Let's check that. Not only that, but I got it with my own credit. Didn't need a cosigner. Got it with my own credit. And I am walking in this apartment, the what do you call it? The model. And I went upstairs and I could hear God. And I was like, oh, that's right. I like that. And God said to me, I remembered your prayer. Ooh. And I stood in the middle of that living room floor. And I couldn't even get it out because I'm standing because I forgot the prayer. And I am looking at everything I had prayed for years ago. He said, I didn't forget you. I told you I wouldn't forget you. Paula, it's in those moments when you don't think that I hadn't asked God about this no more. I forgot. How you forget your own prayer?
You just moved on.
I just kept moving on. And a part of me moved on, not expecting it, not really asking for it. And I think I really stopped asking for it because I didn't believe I could get it. Because I knew my finances were in a shambles. Girl, I wish you would have told me back then to check my credit. The who? Credit what? No, we're not looking at that. I looked at the credit report and I'm literally showing the people in the phone, is it supposed to look like this? Because I didn't believe what I saw. I didn't believe that. And the lady said, I don't understand why you felt you wouldn't be eligible. Because when I filled out the application and paid, I think it was less than an hour later. And they were like, okay, so now we need to figure out what's okay. What you talking about? When you want to move in. I got it. Oh, okay then. Not only that, Paula, I quit my job.
And?
I quit my job to start my in-home daycare.
To start the next chapter.
Start my next chapter, my in-home daycare. And I have been doing in-home, I tell them I do in-home daycare by day and paparazzi by night.
That's the plan.
And I've been doing my in-home daycare now going on 4 years.
Because you trusted
him. Now, did it look like that's what I was supposed to do? I left a state job to become my own business person to do an in-home daycare in an apartment I hadn't gotten yet. Got the apartment, moved in on Labor Day. I started, my children came in October, all of my children, and I have a waiting list now. And 3 of those children I still have. Them. They're getting ready to leave me to go to school this year. That's breaking my heart, but I've had them like family. I've had one child since he was 11 weeks old.
And I keep hearing you say how much you love God. I hear that, but how much you trust God. So how do we get others, Lynn? Because many people that are listening to your voice have been asking, how can I trust you in this scenario? I can trust you in the other scenario, but how do I trust you in this fiasco, in this situation? How did you do it?
First of all, I got to a place, honestly, when I came to the end of myself. And I say that because there were times I kept trying to fix it, and I kept trying to solve it, and I kept trying to maneuver around it. And I finally got to the place that everything that I tried was no longer working. So when it no longer worked, I didn't have a choice. Been saved, knowing God all my little life, I feel like. But no, you just get to a place that, as a human, we always want to fix it. We want to do it. I got it. Can't nobody. Okay. But it really got to a place where I had to trust him, because that's all I had. And it's a shame that we have to get to the point of that being all I have before we trust him. But isn't it like God that wants you empty? Doesn't the word tell us a rich man can't get to heaven? Isn't that the same word that is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to trust God?
And you are also in a place of surrender at that point.
What's that song, With My Hands Lifted Up?
Yes, because you're like, I can no longer depend on me. I don't have this, and I don't have this, and neither do I have that, and neither do I have this, and neither do I have that. And the whole world is a world of surrender. We're getting close to 7 to closure time. I do not know how we got here. I know you're gonna have to come back. I always ask everybody, would you come back?
Of course I'll come back.
Okay, great. The place of surrender, is the most vulnerable place we need to get to. It hurts. It feels bad. People talk about us. We're afraid somebody's going to find out everything that went wrong or whatever. And God's going, you're right. Where?
I need you to be.
I need you to be.
I need you to be. It's that transformation.
There you go. Very good. You picked right up on it. You did a great job.
It's the transformation. It is the transformation. Let me tell you, when you get to that place where you surrender, and that place where you know, God, it ain't nothing. It's me and you. If I don't care, you my ride or die. I'm going to be with you till the wheels fall off. Let me tell you, I tell people all the time, I'm just foolish enough right now in my life that I truly do believe that anything I say out my mouth, God's going to give it to me. That's why I'm careful sometimes about what I say, who I say it to, what I'm about, because I believe it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
There have been times I have called my mother and been like, okay, all righty. And I'll be honest, there was one time that, I was short. I needed rent. I was short. I had lost a child. I had to let the child go. Okay. It just wasn't working out. But I needed a certain amount of money. But like, not a month later, not 2 days later, not like the next day. No, it was a Friday and I needed by Monday. That's what it was. And my daughter is in her room and she's like, Mommy, and I could see her on the phone and she's trying to maneuver and manipulate things. And I looked at her and I said, it's okay. And she's looking at me like, ma'am, what are you talking about? I said, it's going to be okay. I said, God got till Monday. He know what I need. I got it. I turned around, left my daughter, because I was getting ready to go live. I'm getting ready to sell some jewelry, gonna make some women happy. I came to the room. Before I could come to the room, I'm getting a phone call. And I'm getting the phone call, and they were like, do you have everything you need? And I said, no, I don't have everything I need, but God's got it. This is something, and he's got it. I got till Monday. It's going to be okay. And they're talking to me, and they're saying something, and I'm sitting there in my mind. I'm like, okay, I need you to hurry up. I told you I got to get on this live. Let's go. Let's speed this story up. They turned around and said to me, I got it.
So you were being transformed by the renewing of your mind in that moment, probably within a couple of minutes, which is exactly what happens when we believe. Now, right now in this show, I know I'm going to have to wrap it up. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to.
Okay.
How can we get in contact with you? Can we, let's just pop you up really quickly.
Listen.
I totally forgot about telling the people how to get in contact with you because I've been going
I do a segment on my Facebook page, Chic Invasion by Lynn. And that's actually my VIP group page for paparazzi. But I do something every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 7 a.m. And it was a challenge that was given to me almost 2 years ago. It'll be 3 years in October. That as a paparazzi consultant, they wanted us to do something that had nothing to do with money, had nothing to sell jewelry, but to go to the people and encourage them because it's about ministry. I said, okay, I am going to go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. And I'm going to call it Boss Up Beauties because I find that is one thing that we don't do as women. And that's where the power is. Sometimes you got to boss up. If you're going to be the CEO, boss up.
Boss up. That's what
boss up. Let's do that. So they can reach me on Chic Invasion by Lynn. I come on, like I said, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do Mindset Monday, Winning Wednesday, and Fabulous Friday. And I just, my mom has her show on the same days. She's at 8 and I'm at 7. But in some days we can be on the same page and not talk to each other. We're not talking to each other. We don't know. I don't know what she's going to do, and she has no idea what I'm going to do. But sometimes they're the same vein. But I talk in that and I give my intro and I tell people, I'm not here to sell you jewelry at 7 a.m. in the morning. But what I am here to do is to teach, inspire, encourage, and influence you to be what? The best version of yourself. That's what
That's what I'm talking about. That's why you're here tonight. That last line. This is my purpose. My purpose. Now, I'm going to remind everybody that on Saturday, we're going to have a replay at 2:00 of this show. But I'm also going to remind folks, because a lot of people at Bible study, they'll be able to watch it right afterwards. You've said some things and dropped some golden nuggets that I think we need to have a Bible study around it, but we'll talk about that another time. It will not be at 7 a.m. in the morning because I am not necessarily a morning person, but I do believe that there's some things that we need to talk about because there are vulnerable folks now who need to hear and respond.
I'm going to do one more thing. I also started a women's ministry.
Oh, whoa. Oh, okay. Let's just flow that right on into everything.
Throw that out there. It's called I Am Sarah.
I Am Sarah.
I Am Sarah. The group is closed right now because we started in January. We are doing a purpose-driven life because what I realized is that sometimes people just don't understand what their purpose is. And we go through life, just keep going and keep going and keep going, trying to make stuff work, but we don't know what the purpose is. So
I want your purpose is to look at your calendar in March and figure out which Wednesday you can come back. And if we need to put you in the love month, we will, because there's work to do right now. It's the optimal time, and we need this message. And that's why on January 31st, 2024, you are here and I'm here. And you know what? We're running out of time. I'm just so excited. And I'm going to say to you, what I say every week this time. You've just confirmed it. You have to trust the process.
Trust the process.
In order for the power of transformation to do its perfect work in your life. Now, I'm cutting her off, everybody, but she's coming back because we have to go. But I'm telling you, I want you to go back. I want you to look at this. I want you to share it. There are some amazing things that went on here tonight. There's some healing and deliverance. My engineer's going to get mad at me because we need to go home. But this is the day when some of you are going to stop worrying about things and some of you are going to stop whining about things. And you're going to trust.
Like you to Noel. She's not doing it.
Ladies, gentlemen, we love you. We love you. You are just my wonderful people. And I'm telling you, God is doing something great. Don't miss this time.
Don't miss it.
And we're going to see you next week. And she'll be back soon, maybe before March. But we're going to see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us, Lynn.
Thank you for having me.
It was meant to be. Take care, everybody. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.